Hey guys, this is Hybrid, and today I'm going to be basically covering the top like 10 Man of Steel spoilers that are out there right now. So just heads notice now if you don't want to be spoiled at all by this film, because it comes out in about a month as I'm recording this. Actually, not really a month, more like 20 days. So if you don't want to be spoiled at all, like me personally, spoilers don't really affect me because, as someone Ben actually said one time, you don't actually know if they're true or not until you actually watch the movie. So, well, either way, I'm excited for this movie. I want to see a good Superman movie with action yet like emotional intensity. Because the other ones they relied more on the emotional aspects than the physical, which I can understand because it's hard really for Superman, because he's supposed to be this all powerful figure. It's kind of hard. I understand why it'd be hard to constantly give him a physical threat. He's not like a normal human. He doesn't really have a weakness that can easily be exploited without some cliche kind of ending, usually with kryptonite involved. So let's go with them. They're not in any particular order of importance either. It's just I saw them, or actually I didn't see them. Someone sent them to me. Then I saw them. And I was like, hey, more people might want to know about this because depending on how you feel about these, you'll either get more excited or not. So yeah, I think I've wasted enough time to give people time to leave the video, so let's cut right into it. Number one, Jenny Olsen will die leading into the introduction of Jimmy Olsen for Man of Steel 2 if they make one, or maybe later on in the movie during a funeral scene. Now, a lot of people, this might make them happy because a lot of people were afraid that Jimmy Olsen was going to get replaced with Jenny Olsen, as in, like, they're changing the gender of the character, which I didn't think they'd really do because it's one thing to change a character's appearance, like Perry White or Lois Lane, even though Lois Lane was technically a redhead before she was a brunette, but, still the traditional, more regularly associated appearance. It's one thing to change that, but it's a totally different thing to change the gender of the character because that's totally changing the character. So this might relieve some fans. Me personally, it doesn't really affect me because honestly, I didn't think that Jimmy Olsen, male or female, would play a major part in this film at all. But I guess he's going to be included in other films. And I'm not really surprised because I feel like this film is going to be setting up for a lot of things to happen in later films. Kind of like Iron Man did. I feel like this is DC's attempt for an Iron Man film. Like I think they're making this film with a direct purpose to set up for a larger universe. So number two, Superman's suit is Kryptonian environmental suit, like a skin tight suit, allowing him to help navigate living Kryptonian vessels. This part isn't on here though, but it also is from the Fortress of Solitude, as we saw in the prequel comic. It's what the Kryptonian scientists wear when they go out to scout planets and things like that. So that's pretty interesting. It's very similar to New 52, how that was kind of a biotech suit, even though that was a armor, Kryptonian armor, but still same basic principle. I'm noticing that this Krypton is much more biotech and organic stuff versus the traditional crystals and things like that. So I kind of like that. It's more sci-fi and less fantasy-esque to me because obviously crystals, you can make them really cool and all, but in this kind of quote unquote grounded universe, it makes more sense to go this traditional sci-fi route versus this like sci-fi borderline fantasy route, in my opinion. So I think it's pretty cool. It explains why it's so tight on him, I guess. And the third one, Kal-El's birth was natural and illegal on Krypton has a class system where each person is genetically designed via the Genesis chamber. This was hinted at months ago when people were saying that, Kal-El would be different from other Kryptonians, and now we know why. I think this is very interesting. I want to figure out, does he get anything special for being naturally born? Maybe he's a little bit stronger, faster. Who knows? So all in all, I'm really fascinated to see how like this plays an impact at all. But then again, it could just be something that doesn't matter, like with Amazing Spider-Man, where people saw Peter, when he was younger, he looked kind of sick, and then there's like the spider around, even though we just know that was what the actor looked like as like the child actor, and also how the filming was done with the lighting. But still, either it could mean something important later on, or it couldn't mean something important later on. Like I think this will probably mean something, considering it's included in the spoiler list I got sent. all in all, I don't think anyone would send that or even bother putting that in there unless it had some meaning to it at all. Number 4. Zod leads a revolutionary movement called the Sword of Ra, intending to overthrow the Council and restore, quote-unquote, restore Krypton to its former glory. Anyways, this is, I guess, it kind of gives Zod's character some more deeper backstory. I guess, like, we won't really know until we see the movie, obviously, how deep it goes, or if it's just cut and dry, like, yeah, he led a revolutionary movement. But I do think it's interesting, the Sword of Ra, considering Ra's like their god, like their head god, kind of. So I think that's really interesting. I'm looking forward to see this play out, and it looks like it will be Zod versus the Council for the War of Krypton, which usually the War of Krypton has Zod versus someone else in modern Superman mythos, at least. Now, number 5, and a few of these right now are going to go into Zod's minions that we see. Namek, not Namek like Piccolo, but Namek, is Zod's most powerful loyalist. 9 feet tall, silent soldier engineered to answer Zod's orders without hesitation. So that's the figure that's usually shown with the mask on. It's not unmasked due to the fact that an actor is not actually playing him. It's a stunt actor or a stunt man. Therefore, they're not going to bother really showing him without. Plus, he doesn't have any dialogue either. So he's really just a Kryptonian kind of like bodyguard, I'd say, or a hitman. Not really hitman, but person you could send out to attack, like an attack dog. Now, number 6, Faora is Zod's second in command. Oh, surprise there. A cold and emotionless soldier who views violence as her gratification. Her only moment of vulnerability, though, is when she watches Krypton explode. Nothing really that gives away anything here besides the fact that she likes fighting, I guess, and she's Zod's second in command. Also, the actress playing her is hot. So, there we go. Number 7 is a mouthful, and it's a lot to take in, and it's kind of spoilerific. Very spoilerific, in my opinion. Krypton is divided into several guilds. The science one, the warrior one, the laborer one, the artisan one, the mediator one, and there's a few more, I guess, that aren't important enough to list. Now, the council that rules Krypton is formed by representatives of each guild. The council chamber is filled with glyphs detailing Krypton's history and also their deities like Ra, Yoda, or Yuda, Teli, and Lyra, or Lyra, something like that. The council chamber is protected by elite soldiers called the Sapphire Guard. Now, I thought it would have been interesting if instead it was protected by, like, let's say the Green Lantern Corps, or maybe, like, they make mention to a Green Lantern, because that'd be really cool. Let's say during the war on Krypton, they're like, where's our sector's Green Lantern? You know, something like that. But anyways, this is interesting to me and kind of spoilerific because traditionally, the council, they're all scientists. And all of Krypton, like society-wise, is science-driven. There isn't, like, different guilds and all that stuff. They're all scientists, usually. And, like, or at least technology / science / math oriented. So this is interesting to me. It's much more broader what we can see on this version of Krypton, and also basically what can happen. Honestly, it's very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do this. Like I said, it looks like they're really creating their own universe here. This isn't what we usually think of when we think of Krypton. It's something totally different. It's basically like a futuristic version of us, so to speak. And maybe that's what they're going for, because who knows, maybe in the future we'll all split up to a caste system of guilds similar to this. And number 8, Krypton's surface has been strip mined and turned into a barren wasteland. Hence why maybe Zod wants to reclaim it and to its former glory, things like that. Kandor City is located underground. Only Jor-El and Laura Van, live in the surface. And I must say, this is one of the first times I've seen them put Laura's full name, because usually they don't put her full last name, they just put Jor-El and Laura. So I found that interesting. But Krypton's wildlife, which is interesting because usually they don't show wildlife or living things on Krypton besides the Kryptonians, but they include the Rondor beast, which is a massive monster, and the Hiraka, which is a dragonfly-like flying creature that Kryptonians even like Jor-El ride. And as you can see, there's Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, riding one in the prequel comic. So, and I have a theory, actually I'll get to that later. Number 9. Krypton once explored the universe, but they became isolationists and retreated into Kandor City. I think that might have been because in the prequel comic for Man of Steel, Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, later on, I don't know if they're going to do that or not in the film series, but her ship crash landed on Earth. So I'm thinking, and because of Forces of Solitude, but I'm thinking maybe once that happened, the Kryptonians were just like, let's stop with the whole space travel thing. So there's that. The Phantom Zone projector is located in Krypton's orbit, but the Black Zero ship, which ends up becoming Zod's ship, is a prison barge made from scraps, actually. It's not really professionally made at all, which might be a weakness exploited in the film. I'm thinking that would probably be, since they mentioned it wasn't, like it was made from scraps, kind of. But it takes criminals to the Phantom Zone, so we know for a fact that Zod becomes a criminal considering he's put on the ship, which means most likely the war on Krypton will be somewhat resolved to a degree before Krypton actually explodes. So I'm thinking that the war on Krypton will be a good 20 minutes to a half hour in the beginning of the movie. Now it's located in subspace, so it's not like a totally different dimension, but Krypton's explosion causes Zod to be able to take control of the Black Zero, and it becomes his ship, or flagship, which he uses to go to Earth, obviously. And also, they have like subships on there, and like robots, kind of. So Zod kind of has like a mini army to a degree, but not something you could officially call an army, in my opinion. Number 10, the final one I have of spoilers. Zod mentally torments Superman in a dream sequence, actually. That's what it's been described as. In that sequence, Superman is a tyrant and is part of a. Basically, he is in an all black version of the suit with Zod kind of tempting him like the devil would tempt Jesus, which I find interesting because usually in Superman media portrayals, especially live action ones, they love messing around with the whole Jesus Superman thing. So this is kind of interesting that they're doing this with it, and that the description brings up, him being tempted like the devil or trying to tempt him like the devil. And also, I'm interested in seeing this black suit because hopefully it'll be like a nod to the Death of Superman outfit, maybe. Who knows? Return of Superman outfit. I would love to see that because every picture I try getting of that suit, it's like taken down. So it must be pretty cool, I guess. But anyways, I think this is interesting because this has to mean some mental abilities. Maybe in the ship Black Zero, maybe Zod has mental abilities because of the biosuits it looks like they're wearing. Maybe Kryptonians have limited telepathy abilities in general. We don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And that's all the spoilers I have. I hope you guys enjoyed them. If you guys did enjoy them, I'm sorry you don't like the spoilers. I don't make them, so don't hate on me. But subscribe, like the video, comment below your thoughts of this movie. Are you excited? I know I am. Also, check out my other videos, and alright, bye.